Hello and welcome back. I hope you've been doing well. I'm here again with an episode of a jump pass question. So today, without wasting much time, let's look at what we have on the board. This is a question that has no clue as to where the question was gotten from. But you can guess that if you are conversant with this structure. Now, what topic do you think this structure here is from? I'll give you some minutes to reflect and think. All right, no stress. I'm sure you're getting close to it. All right, if we are on the same page, this image here is a bone. You got that, a bone. And it's from a topic we all know, which is the skeleton. Now the question is, where exactly? Because of course we know that we have close to 206 bones in the body of an adult and almost 270 in that of a baby. Now where exactly is this bone from? Let's think again. Okay, this bone right here is from the vertebra, meaning it is from the spinal column that protects what we call the spinal cord. So it is one of the 5 vertebrae. Remember, we have 5 of them. Yes, it is particularly the first one, which you call the cervical. But remember that the cervical is how many in humans? It is actually 7, which we refer to as C1 to C7. So let's have it somewhere here. It is referred to as C1 to C7. We also have the others we call the next, the thoracic found in the chest. The cervical is found in the neck. Then the thoracic, the chest. The lumbar, the upper abdomen. Then going downwards, we have the lower abdomen, the waist region, where we have the sacra. And then this sacra fuses to form the sacrum, don't forget. And then we also have the cauda found in the tail, which fuses to form the what? The coccyx. Coccyx. Sometimes we hear coccyx. Alright, so we're now after this, we're after the cervical. So the question now is, which parts are which parts are used to recognize the figure above? Now we know that this is a cervical, but we have 7 of them. So which particular one? Remember that the first cervical is called the atlas. I always tell students to remember, you can say, at last I finished my homework. At last I made it through with my JAMB. Of course you make it through with your JAMB. I wish you good luck. So always remember, at last comes before the next part of the sentence. So at last is always the first. So you can always use atlas to remember that it is the first cervical, C1 or atlas. C2 is called axis. Then the other one, C3 to C7, are the normal, or we call them typical cervical. C3 to C7. So here, right here is a typical cervical. Yeah, but what type? And that is where the question comes in. How do you identify that this is a typical? Now, all cervical are known to have a very unique feature. This number 4, I started with number 4. It is called the transverse foramen, or we can also call it the vertebral arterial canal. Don't mind the big name, it means something. I think I'm just going to put it somewhere here. The vertebral arterial canal. What does this simply mean? From the word vertebra, of course it is one of the vertebra. Then the word arterial is that it is for the passage of arteries, yeah, so that, and also other blood vessels, so that it can take, passage of blood can flow. Then a canal is an opening. Do you understand? So it is a vertebral arterial canal, or called vertebral foramen. The foramen also means an opening, but this opening serves the function for blood. You understand? So this is another opening we call, here is another opening we call the neural canal. Why here is not an opening? It's just sometimes looks like, but it's a solid piece of bone. We call the body or the centrum. So here is what the neural canal. Why these places here are the facets for attachment of what other vertebrae or bones articulating with this C3 to C7, a typical normal cervical. So what's this? This is what we call a bifid neural spine. We call it a neural process rather. Sometimes referred to as a bifid. Yeah, because it has two projections, and that's why you can feel it here. You have a pointed part here where you can feel behind at the back of your neck. That's because of these two projections. They are very pointed. If you're looking at the skeletal model, you will feel how the bones came out there. But the other parts here, the thoracic, they are all covered with muscles there. You will feel it, but not so effective like this. And they don't have two projections, just one. But from the cervical, you start having two projections. That's why it's bifid. All right, so this is the facet. This is a neural, a transverse foramen, or we call it the vertebral arterial canal, and it's just for passage of blood through the vessels, of course. And then the solid piece of bone that gives support to another bone, you call it the centrum of the body. Now, in the axis, remember I told you that C1 is atlas. At last, we made our JAMB, don't forget. So this C1, or atlas, and then the C2 or axis. When you look at the axis C2, under this centrum, we don't have it like this. It is longer, a little bit longer. It is modified. It has been changed in the C2 to form what we call the odontoid process or the dens. So that odontoid is what enables us to turn our neck because of this projection here, longer here in the centrum instead of being round. We see it in the axis. It has a projection or a modified centrum that gives us the ability to rotate our neck. So that projection goes into an opening here. You get, so that you can turn our neck. Are you following? All right. So the question, back to the question, which says, which part is used to recognize the figure above? Because you know that every other typical cervical or every other vertebrae must have the neural process, but it will not have this bifid. It will have the facet, it will have the centrum or the solid piece of bone, the body, it will have the transverse process, but it will not have this 4 and 5. Now, what is this 4 and 5? Here is what we call the posterior articulating surface, and here is the what? Anterior. Are you following? So it has two, sometimes we call it the transverse wing. You see it in the cervical. Cervicals are known, the ones found in the neck, to have this wing, two. And then they're also known to have this opening we call the vertebral arterial canal. So that's a unique feature of them. Then they also have other things. Some of them have a long neural spine, short neural spine, a centrum that is modified like you see in the axis. So of course for this cervical, normal cervical or typical cervical, which you call C3 to C7, they are known to have number 4, which is what? Vertebral arterial canal, and then which is also the what? The posterior articulating surface, a part of the transverse wing. Are you following? So let's go on to another question. Then of course, don't forget, I'm going to be leaving you with an exercise that you will do, and you can drop your answers in the comment section.